RV build quality does not seem to be improving despite what I think has been a very vocal concern from the RV community over the last few years. So today I want to show you guys a couple things that I personally have issues with, and these problems are on a brand new RV. So here's what happens. My friend Josh sends me some video from the Tampa RV show. I'm going to show you those videos in a second, but the last video I receive is this.
Those low point drains aren't the lowest point. I don't know how it made it out of the factory floor, because they dip down underneath the frame and then come back up and connect into the part that's got the caps for the low point drain.
Josh and I kind of geek out over this stuff, and I think we're both a little confused how something like this can be on display at the largest RV show in the country. And by the way, Josh runs the YouTube channel RV Gear and Far. He puts out excellent content. Definitely check him out. I'll put links to his channel down below. There's actually some things I want to talk about other than the low point drains, but let's start there. Now, this channel is not about beating up the RV manufacturers or the RV dealers. If you've watched our content before, you know our videos are always positive, and the intent is to help people understand and enjoy their RVs. But that also means showing things that we as the consumer want to be looking for and avoiding. I want to be fair, and what we're about to look at may be a situation where the final assembly of the RV has not been completed yet, or the plumbing or plumbing bracketry was damaged while it was traveling to the show. And if that is the case, a temporary fix could have been made to hold the plumbing up so the RV could be displayed at the show. However, I don't think that's the issue, and let me explain why. By looking at how everything is connected at the low point drains, there doesn't seem to be any logical way it could have been routed differently. So that's one reason I don't think this is a temporary repair. Additionally, if the plumbing was damaged while it was traveling to the show, I would think the temporary fix would be to just disconnect the plumbing lines and fix it when it got back to the dealership. So to show you guys what I mean, I very quickly photoshopped what this would look like had they just removed the exterior lines instead of zip tying everything up, and let me know in the comments what makes for a better display. I can't imagine anyone working for an RV dealership thinking this looks okay, even somebody with no plumbing knowledge. I think those are very fair reasons to come to the conclusion that this is not a temporary repair. So let's dive into the videos and see what's going on. Let's start with the low point drains. These are installed for the simple purpose of draining your pressurized water system when you winterize. Because these are positioned at the lowest point on your pressurized plumbing system, opening these drains will allow gravity to pull out most of the water. Your low point drains are not going to empty things like your fresh water tank, any water that's behind valves at sinks and showers, and some other areas like water already inside of a washing machine. But that's another discussion for another video. The point I want to make today is to emphasize that for the reason low point drains are put on your RV, they need to be positioned at the lowest point of the plumbing system. You can clearly see the low point drains are not at the lowest point. Now it is close, but definitely not lower. Water is going to sit in this area, and that could become a problem when winterizing. Something else worth noting here is that you can blow lines out with compressed air, but that never gets all the water out, and eventually more water is going to pool in this area. That's the first problem. The second problem is the plumbing is routed underneath the frame. I cannot imagine an RV manufacturer doing this. Plumbing lines should be routed around the rail, and if you have to cross a rail, they need to get creative. They need to run the plumbing line back up into the RV, maybe behind a cabinet where you're not going to see it, and drop it on the other side. No matter what you do, plumbing should never be run underneath a frame rail.
Is that it?
No, there's more. You see?
Problem number 3, while we're talking about rerouting the plumbing system, the PEX lines are zip tied to the frame of the RV. They're not even the right kind of zip ties, but we'll get to that in a minute. For now, the best way to secure these plumbing lines to the RV would be to use PEX hose clamps. Sometimes they're called brackets or tie downs. They rarely fail unless they get snagged on something. They're much more rigid than a zip tie and better protect the PEX from potential road hazards because they prevent the line from dangling. Yes, these are pictures of residential home applications, but I'm showing these to make a point. This is how PEX plumbing lines are mounted in a house that is never moving. RVs are always moving. You're traveling down the highway at 60 miles an hour. You're hitting potholes, you're making turns. There's sideways sway and porpoising. In addition to all of that, you have road hazards, things getting kicked up from the tires that can damage anything under the RV. If anything, PEX should be mounted in a manner that is twice as secure in an RV than it is in a house. Back to the zip ties. Now, this is not even close to the correct application for a zip tie, but in the correct application, I would rather see a stainless steel zip tie here. They're just better than nylon zip ties in harsh environments like the underside of an RV, especially where strength is an important consideration. Don't get me wrong, zip ties are great for a lot of different things, but installing them on plumbing lines inside the RV, maybe behind a cabinet where they're not susceptible to damage, is very different than installing them underneath an RV. A couple other things I noticed was what looks to be like a low pressure propane line is all curled up and zip tied to the frame. Again, something may be going on here that we don't know about. However, the quick connect propane line that you install an outside grill on is already installed. So is this curled up propane line just excess? They decided they didn't want to cut to the right size. I don't know. There's even more zip ties holding up plumbing and gas lines throughout the underneath of the RV. And of course, there's no underbelly cover. Now, I don't know if this RV comes with an underbelly cover, but it really should be on the RV if it's at the show on display. Manufacturers and dealers are selling RVs at the shows and therefore should be representing the product accurately when people are signing the paperwork. Now, you can argue that this is a smaller entry-level RV, but these are not bells and whistles. These are standard safety issues. These are build quality issues, which can lead to damage and expensive repairs. If the manufacturers use the correct parts, it's not going to increase the cost of the RV to any degree of significance. Here's another thing to consider: the importance of having an independent inspection done before you buy an RV, whether it's new or used. Myself included, I think when we're looking for that new RV, we're looking for the perfect floor plan, the right amount of storage space, and if our truck will tow the new RV. But the independent inspectors are going to be looking at the less glamorous things. They have no allegiance to the dealership, and they're going to point out concerns no matter what it is. Pierre and Laurel from Blue Ox RV Inspection are great people and do an excellent job finding these things. I'll link to their channel down below. If RV manufacturers are so poorly building the sections of RVs that we can see, imagine the high level of craftsmanship or lack thereof we're getting in areas we can't see. There's so much happening behind the scenes of an RV. There's a lot more plumbing connections and wiring connections that can short out. Cabinetry framing could be weak. The air conditioning heating ducts may be poorly connected. There's 100 different things, and if they're not done correctly the first time, they could cause a lot of problems after you take ownership of the RV. So taking all of these things into account, I don't think this plumbing system we looked at today stands a chance. I would love to hear your thoughts and experiences on quality control in the comments down below, and hopefully this video raises some awareness. Wait until you see what we found at a different RV show.